The only thing I'm guilty of is being shy. I'm guilty of everything. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I am Rafael and I am here to review episode 9 of The Real Phone Calls Warning You That the Police Are Coming After You of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off with Jen and her son playing a game of basketball, and he doesn't really seem to be interested in filming this scene with Jen, but she bribed him with some of the scam money that she scammed out of people, allegedly, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll film the scene if you give me some of the money on a weekly basis. And then we head over to Whitney's house. She's walking around that house with her husband, and he's like, oh, there's the stripper pole that we don't really use anymore, and then he proceeds to get on it and start spinning, and I thought that was actually impressive on his part, not on Whitney's part, because we already know that she's good with the pole, but I didn't know that he had some moves on the pole, and then she joins him on the pole. I'm like, okay, so that's cute. You know, a marriage that can spin on a pole together, stay together. So kudos to you, Whitney, and your husband. And then we head over to Lisa and Baby Gorgeous' house, and she goes into her son's room, and she's like, hi, Baby Gorgeous. Hi, Baby Milk. How are you? What are you doing? Oh, you're playing a virtual game? Let me play the virtual game too. And then she puts on the virtual goggles or the helmet or whatever. She starts doing the robot. I'm like, okay, that's cute. And then she takes it off and she's like, okay, baby pillow, do you want to go get Taco Bell? Let's go get Taco Bell. I'm hungry. And then we head over to Mary's house, and she's calling everybody on the cast to let them know that they're invited to her Italian event that she's throwing. And for this event, she's going to have a dress code, and the dress code is Italian streetwear. And the reason why there's a dress code is because, in Mary's words, nobody on the cast knows how to dress. Everybody thinks that they're bringing it when it comes to the fashion, but nobody's really bringing it. And I'm like, Mary, this is coming from you? And this is coming from somebody who seems like they use Giselle Stylist from Potomac. But okay, Mary, let's criticize everybody else's fashions. I think that Jen could dress. She always brings it in every scene. She always brings all her furs. I think Lisa could dress. Meredith, I think she could dress too. It's usually a hit or miss. Jenny, she could dress too when we actually see her in the scene. She looks beautiful. As for Heather and Whitney, they're just there. But this is where things start getting a little shaky between Mary and Whitney. Well, more so from Mary's side, because as she's calling Whitney, Whitney keeps declining the phone call. She keeps ignoring it. And Mary's getting more and more upset about it. And she's like, you know what? I'm not going to continue calling Whitney. I'm done with this girl. I'm not going to continue calling her. She also tells Heather that Jenny is not invited. And honestly, I don't blame her for not inviting Jenny to the event, because Jenny, you yelled at her and you didn't properly say, I'm sorry, or you didn't properly apologize to Mary for going off on her just because you were having a bad day. So I don't blame Mary for not inviting her. And then we head over to Meredith's house. And did anybody notice that her house was in the middle of the snowy mountains? I mean, the Grinch lives like 3 blocks away from her. That's how high up in the snowy mountains she lives. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It looks kind of spooky, but Meredith, if you love it, then fine. As long as you have a baseball bat by the time nighttime comes, you're good. Regardless, Jenny comes over. Both of them are getting their nails and toes done. And then Meredith proceeds to tell Jenny, Jenny, I was wondering if you wanted to come on this trip with me and the rest of the girls. Me and my family, we were gonna go to this place and we couldn't. So now I'm just gonna invite you and the rest of the women on the cast. Do you wanna go? I mean, Jen is also gonna be there, but I don't think Jen is gonna make it because Brooks, he's gonna call the cops right before we leave. So I'm gonna plan everything accordingly. And I already ran it by Andy. Andy said he's okay with it, and they're gonna have the cameras there. They're gonna have extra cameramen there too. So do you wanna come? And by the way, Mary is also gonna be there. And then Jenny proceeds to tell Meredith, oh, I don't know how I feel about Mary being there because Mary owes me an apology for attacking me. And I'm like, attacking you? Nobody attacked you, Jenny. You involved yourself in an argument that had nothing to do with you just because you were having a bad day. And again, just because you were having a bad day does not mean that you get to lash out at anybody or tell Mary to shut the fuck up. That was the argument between Lisa and Mary, and you decided to insert yourself in the middle of it for some reason, just to tell her to shut the fuck up. And now you're saying that you were attacked and that you need an apology? No. If anything, it should be the other way around, and you owe Mary a proper apology, because you saying, oh, Mary, are we good? Are we good? Okay, we're good. That's not an apology. So, you see, strike number 2 on why Mary didn't invite you to her event. And then we get a lunch scene between Heather and her daughter, and as soon as I saw her daughter, I was just like, no, please, no more about her sex life. Please drop it, no more. But luckily, it wasn't about her sex life for a second week in a row. So, Heather, kudos to you. As soon as I saw Heather, her daughter, coming into the scene, I'm like, oh no, I started sweating. I'm like, please, no, not this damn conversation again. But luckily, again, everything was fine. They're there to meet up with Heather's niece and her partner. And the conversation that they had was pretty interesting. It was basically wrapped around the Mormon religion and how certain things are questionable. And I feel like the conversation not only had to apply for the Mormon religion, but just religion in general. How, yeah, you could believe religion or you could believe in certain things, but certain things are questionable. Even for me, certain things are questionable. And I like that the guy that her niece was with, he was just like, yeah, when this whole pandemic started, I was wondering, what is gonna get us out of this? Why isn't a certain God coming down to save us? Or why is the world in such a bad state with this pandemic? And I like that they were questioning certain things, because again, you could follow certain things, but you can also have certain questions. And I like that Heather allows her daughter to be free of it, and not just, you have to be Mormon, you have to follow this religion, you have to be underneath this and follow all these rules. Because besides questioning things and believing certain things, there also comes the other part where, oh, you don't want to be confined and you don't want to live a life full of like 100 rules. Oh, you can't wear this, you can't wear that, you can't do this, you can't do that, because you're gonna go to hell or you're not gonna go to heaven, etc., etc. So I can see why people would want to distance themselves from a certain religion like her niece did, because her niece is just like, once I started having certain questions, I kind of decided to back down from it. And once I decided to back down from being a Mormon completely, I felt a bit free. And just like Heather said, when she had to go to the wedding, she had to wear a little outfit over her shoulders to cover up. And again, some people don't want to be confined to those religious rules. And like her niece said, she wants to have a hot girl winter, and that's what she's going to do. Then we head over to Jen and her scamming partner, Stuart, and they're going out for a walk in the snow. And Jen, she gets a bit emotional and she starts basically spilling all her emotions out to Stuart. And she's like, Stuart, you're my business partner. You're my ride or die. And if it wasn't for my businesses, I wouldn't be able to feed so many families. And I'm like, oh, Jen. Like, this is not looking good from what's to come in the next 2 episodes. And especially how everything's been playing out in the media of you and your scamming and you saying that you've been feeding a bunch of families. Yikes. But regardless, she continues to spill her feelings out to Stuart, telling him, I love you and you're such a good man and you're just such a good partner. I love you and your kids, and I've been able to feed you with all the money I've stolen. That we've stolen. that I've processed in my businesses. And I just want you to know that I care a lot about you. And I'm like, damn, Jen, where is Coach Shaw? So you can be telling all of this to him, because I don't know. Do y'all smell that? It smells like they're fucking. I don't know, because the way she was just telling him way too much, it was like she was ready to get down on her knee and propose to him. And he just looks sketchy. He just looks like he's nervous 24/7 when he's on camera. He's just like, fuck, say the right thing, smile, don't point at anything, don't shine anything, don't say too much. Like, he just seems like he's ready to throw Jen right underneath the bus. Like, I felt like at any given moment, he was going to cut Jen off in the middle of her monologue and be like, I appreciate you, Jen, for all those words. She did it. It was all her. She forced me to do it all with her. It's her. She's the real criminal. But that was a cute scene, I guess. It was a beautiful crime love story between them. And then we see Mary, and she's at the place where her event is taking place at. And I'm not sure what was wrong with her look, because it looked like she was just dragged out of the ocean 2 seconds ago and was told, okay, you gotta go film this scene, go. But regardless, she's there with the lady who's helping her adjust everything around the table, from the name placements to the cups to the forks and knives. And Mary, this is the episode that we really got to see a much more deeper side of Mary and how big of a control freak she is, because she's like, oh, no, I don't like the cups right there. Let me just adjust this like this. And then the lady who was just looking at her like, okay, let me adjust it with you. Let me move this over here. Do you like that better? You don't? Okay, I'm gonna move it over here. Do you like that better? No? Okay, let me move it here. Do you like that better? Oh, you don't fucking like it. Okay, let me move it here. Do you like that better? Huh? Okay, thank you. I can already tell that the lady probably was like, okay, I'm gonna tax her even more on this for giving me a headache. And Mary was just so particular about everything around the table. She's like, no, I like this like this. No, I like this like this. No, can we just adjust it at a 90-degree angle? No, I kind of want an obtuse angle as well. Can we put the fork upside down? can we put a knife underneath the table? Yeah, no, I just want everything to be in order, you know? And then they play that flashback of her last year where she was so disrespectful to the people that were helping her with the event last year at the first season, where she's like, can you guys read? Do you guys not know how to read? And I'm just like, Mary, she just has such a elitist attitude that she's just better than everybody else and that everybody has to bow down to her. And I'm pretty sure that that's probably how her church people are too. Jen is the first one to show up, and of course she's so extra about it. She shows up on a scooter wearing the Italian flag on her fur jacket. I mean, her whole entire looked beautiful. She looks good. She can never do any wrong when it comes in the fashion department. And she shows up to greet Mary. Mary keeps talking to her in Italian, and she's just like, ciao bella, so beautiful. And Jen is getting annoyed. She's like, can she please stop talking to me in Italian? You know, but I like that Mary was on brand with the theme. And then Meredith shows up, and Meredith, she shows up looking like a tall ass robot. I loved her shoes that she was wearing. And she's like, you know, this is the first time that I'm seeing Mary and Jen since the whole incident between, you know, me and Jen. So I don't know how I feel about it. And I'm like, oh, Meredith, cut it out. You're blowing it out of proportion. You know, it's fine. And then we see Whitney and Heather carpooling to the event together. And Whitney's telling Heather, yeah, I got an invitation from Mary, and she wanted me to dress up in a slutty mafia outfit. And she even sent me pictures. And then Heather confirms, yeah, that's not the invitation that everybody else got. We all got Italian streetwear. So Whitney's like, wait, she wanted me to look like a fool showing up to this event looking like this on a Saturday? I mean, I have the clothes, but I mean, if I was Whitney, I would have just showed up in a thong and some pasties with a hat. That's what I would have showed up in. And I'm pretty sure that Mary probably would have been uncomfortable. So you would have probably beat her at her own game. But regardless, Whitney's like, I couldn't answer her phone call because I was carpooling. I was on a stripper pole with my husband. I couldn't do anything about it. You know, I was looking for a storyline to keep me on the show for season 3. So that's why I couldn't pick up the phone call. And then they finally get to the event and they greet Mary. And Mary is pissed. And again, Mary just wanted to degrade Whitney by making her look stupid or foolish. I mean, at first her idea was to dress her up in a monkey suit, and instead she went with the whole mafia look. But she's pissed that Whitney didn't show up looking like a fool that she wanted. She was like, oh yeah, you didn't go along with my prank. Thanks a lot. And she's just so pissy about it. And I'm like, Mary, cut it out. I just know that that's Mary's personality, to be controlling or to dehumanize people. Like, oh, you're going to be beneath me. And if I want you to look like a fool in front of everybody else, you're going to look like a fool. And if you don't, how dare you disrespect me? That's the type of energy I got from her addressing Whitney like that. And Whitney's just like, I wasn't going to wear that. I mean, I thought everything was fine, and why you have to dress me up in this type of costume, you know? And she told Jen too, she's like, she wanted me to look like a fool here, and just because I didn't, now she's upset about it. So Mary, I mean, I could understand if you were genuinely trying to just joke around with her just because she didn't pick up your phone call, but we all know that you were just trying to make her look stupid in front of everybody else. You weren't trying to go for a prank. And then Carmen Sandiego, Lisa, she shows up and she's like, hey guys, hey, oh my God, I love that outfit. I love the Italian flag, Jen. I love it. And as the group is settling in, Mary's like, oh, wait. I got gifts for everybody. So she brings out a bunch of bags that she got from Dorit's closet. And it's a bunch of Louis Vuitton bags with something inside it. And then Heather's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I did not know that Louis Vuitton made aprons, because I know that Mary is just going to come with expensive gifts for us. And as Mary's handing it out to everybody, the producer in the confessional is asking Mary, so Mary, did you really give them Louis Vuitton aprons? Like, is that really what you got them? And Mary's just like, no, why would I give them? She's like, why would I give them Louis Vuitton aprons? They don't even know how to cook. Jesus. Even though Mary is, you know, she's not all there in the head, and she could be controlling, and who knows what kind of cult she's running in the church, she is hilarious, and she has many hilarious moments. I do enjoy her on the show. She said, why would I give them aprons from Louis Vuitton when they don't know how to cook? That is priceless. It just goes to show you, though, that you could put like a garbage bag inside a name brand bag, and then everybody will be impressed by it. Like, you see how they were all like, oh my God, Louis Vuitton. And it was just an apron, and it had no type of brand attached to it. They're just so fascinated by the bag itself, but not the apron. Like, that just goes to show you, I mean, luxury brands could get away with everything. And then we head over to Jenny's house. Everybody is cooking, making pasta. Eventually, everybody sits down to enjoy the pasta that they just made. And there's some tension between Jen and Lisa, who's sitting right across from her, because obviously Jen feels some type of way that Lisa didn't invite her to the event last week, but she invited Whitney, or at least in this case, Jack invited Whitney. And then as they're all talking, Whitney brings up the event, and she's like, "Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry that I couldn't come to your event. I had things to do." And Lisa's like, "It's fine." And then Mary's just like, "Oh, yeah, I wasn't invited, but, I'm never invited to anything. And I got used to it." And I'm like, "Oh, Mary, it's crazy, too, because she invited Lisa to this event. So why couldn't Lisa just invite everybody to her event?" And Lisa's like, "Well, I'm so sorry, Mary, that first of all, I didn't invite anybody. It was all Jack." And then Jen jumps in. And then Jen is like, "Oh, Mary, don't feel some type of way. I didn't get invited either." And then Lisa looks over at Jen and she's like, wait. No, I didn't invite anybody. This is all on Jack. This is all on Jack and Baby Gorgeous. That was not me. This is all on him." And I'm like, so Jack made the list of who could come to his event. So if that's the case, so he invited that man that Meredith had the conversation with one-on-one last week from Mary's church. You mean to tell me that Jack invited him over to his event? How does he know him? It's not making sense, Lisa, because if this is all Jack's doing, I would think that it would be just a bunch of like 16-year-olds just at the event, not these grown-ass men who are in Mary's cult, her church. It's just, Lisa, again, you're getting caught up in your lies. Everything starts to escalate because Jen looks over at Whitney and she's just like, "So I want to talk to you about something because Lisa told me that you sent so-and-so personal items from your brand. So what was that about? Because Lisa invited you to the event, but she was trying to throw you underneath the bus to me. So what was that about?" And Whitney's like, whoa, no, I was never trying to send anybody anything, nothing personal. If so-and-so wants to promote the brand, then so be it. But that was not on my doing. I just sell the product and I sell it to everybody. So Jen was kind of confused. She's like, "So then why would Lisa invite you? And why would she try to paint you out as if you're trying to do something malicious behind my back?" And Meredith jumps in to defend Lisa as well. And she's just like, "Well, in her defense, Lisa can invite whoever she wants. Jack, it was Jack, right? Yes, Jack. Jack can invite whoever he wants to his event. And it was a small space. So that's why, Jen, that's why, right, Lisa? That's what you told me in the car to say. It was Jack's doing. And it wasn't really Lisa. It was all his doing, Like, I'm just saying that the party was very small and not everybody was going to get invited, Jen? So you just got to relax a little bit. Does anybody have any tequila?" Lisa also jumps in and she's like, "That is not my fault. That is not my problem. It was Jack. Jack is the one that invited everybody. So it was all Jack's doing. I am very proud of my son and my Baby Gorgeous. So nobody better come for me. Nobody better come for me. I am done with the situation. I am done, okay? Hi, guys. Where is Jenny, by the way? Where's Jenny? Mary, where's Jenny? I'm done with this situation completely." Heather also jumps in and she's like, "Lisa, I just feel like everything that you're saying right now is a bunch of bullshit." And I was like, what? It's a bunch of what, Heather? You're finally doing something? You're really trying to keep your snowflake for next season and not let it melt, huh? I was shocked that she said anything. I was like, "Lisa, you have anything to say about that?" But then Jen is still like, "I just want you to apologize to me because you hurt my feelings by not inviting me." And then Lisa finally gives in and she's like, "I'm sorry, Jen. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If you felt so hurt, then I truly apologize for that." And then everything was kind of, squashed with that issue right then and there. But Lisa, we see the Kyle Richards in you. You are trying to produce the show. And again, she's just trying to keep the show moving. And the problem with her is that she gets caught in her lies. And then she tries to pretend like she didn't have any involvement in everything that she produced. Just when things started to calm down a bit, everything gets brought up back to a 10 because they start talking about this trip that they're all going to go on. And then Jenny, she gets to be the topic of the conversation because Mary wants to know Jen's opinion on Jenny because apparently to Mary, she thinks that Jenny is a gossiper. And I'm like, she's a gossiper? Is she a gossiper? We really haven't seen her gossip or go back and forth with people like that, let alone let her be on the show at all. We only seen her talk to Dewey and she wasn't gossiping then. So who knows what Mary is looking at? Who knows what we're not seeing? But regardless, she wants to know Jen's opinion on Jenny. And Jen is trying to talk and she's trying to say that she's going to be supportive of Mary if anything goes between her and Jenny. And then Whitney, she jumps in and she's like, "Mary, did you see that? Jen is trying to be your best friend right now. She's trying to be really nice to you and she's just trying to give you a peace offering." And I'm like, "Whitney, why are you involving yourself in this situation?" This is exactly what got Jenny uninvited to this event because she involved herself in something that didn't belong to her. And Mary, you could just tell that the wheel started spinning in her head because she's just like, no, no, no. I want to know about Jen. I want to know about Jen. Jen is the one I want to talk to, not you, Whitney. And Whitney keeps trying to cut in. She keeps trying to cut in. She keeps trying to cut in. And I'm like, Whitney, just be quiet. Like, I was with you with the whole costume thing, but now, again, you're trying to make a moment here out of what? Just let her and Jen talk because Mary wants to hear Jen. She doesn't want to hear it out of your mouth. And things just go sideways very quickly, and they both start going at it with each other. And Mary's just like, no, what you're gonna do right now, Whitney, is stop. You're gonna stop right now, little girl. No, be quiet. I said be quiet. Whitney, stop. You're gonna be quiet right now. And Whitney was just so caught off guard. She's like, I'm not a child. Even though I watch Nickelodeons and I put this fake baby voice on, I am not a child. I'm a big girl. See, I'm wearing big girl panties. You see, Mary? So please don't talk to me like that. I am not a little girl, okay, Mary? And then Mary's just like, okay, whatever, little girl. Whatever, little girl. And I'm looking at Mary like, Mary, relax. You know, I get it that Whitney, she had no business into jumping in this conversation with you and Jen, but, you know, to see Mary become so, you know, out of 10 like that, I'm like, okay, something is clearly, you know, not stable there. You know, it was fun to watch before, but I'm like, Mary, I don't know. Your behavior is a little scary. And, you know, even though I was with Mary on this one, if I was Whitney, first of all, you're not going to call me a little girl or point your finger at me. I would have grabbed the finger and just broke it in half. Or grab the pasta and just threw it across the table. Like, no, Whitney, you know, I get it that you were trying to be her friend, but you obviously see that she's coming at you, so you're just gonna stand there and take it. And Whitney's like, little girl, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go to my corner because you hurt my feelings. So she walks away, and then Meredith goes after her after Meredith tried to calm Mary down, but Mary didn't want anything to do with her. She's like, no, forget you, forget everybody. You know, Mary just wasn't seeing it for anybody. So Meredith goes outside with Whitney. Whitney starts crying because she feels so hurt because she felt like she was, you know, Mary's soldier. And to be honest, Whitney, you seem more like her puppet the way you were describing it. But Meredith goes outside and she's trying to comfort her, and Meredith is just like, you know, Whitney, I had a conversation with somebody, with Cameron, and I talked to him, and he used to go to Mary's church. And let's just say that it was a couple of bad things that happened there that he was telling me, and I don't know how I feel about it. You know, it sounds pretty scary and interesting, and I need to know more about it. So then Whitney, it seemed like Whitney didn't want to reveal too much of what she had on Mary. And I'm like, Whitney, what do you know? Because if you're trying to keep your snowflake for next season, you need to, come on now, time is ticking, and you need to expose Mary and her church. What is going on? And she's like, well, I had a conversation with Mary's cousin, and he told me that she was a bad girl and to not trust her because she's kind of like a God complex to them, and they talk to her in tongues like she's God. So they told me to never make her mad. And I'm like, that is scary. Like, what is Mary telling or doing to these people that is making them so scared of her? I mean, yes, when she goes off, it is pretty scary, but I'm like, all anybody needs is a Bible and just whack her with it, and then she'll calm the fuck down. You know, I couldn't picture going to her church and then her yelling at me like that, and I'm just supposed to sit there like that, like, oh, okay, she's God. But again, there are some brainwashed people out there in the world that will just believe in anything, I guess. And you see how tricky and the borderline of religion and cult is like. It's pretty scary. And again, Meredith and Whitney, both of you need to team up and kind of come to the whole Mary's takedown of her church and expose her for the church, because that's what I really want to know. And those audios, Whitney, you need to bring that up at the reunion, or else you're going to be on the chopping block for next season. Like, come on, if you don't want your snowflake to melt with Meredith, you and Meredith need to come up with a plan or something to bring people from the church, or bring receipts or recordings or something to the reunion, so that way you can have a spot for next season. Meredith and Whitney go back to the table, and I was actually shocked to see Mary apologize to Meredith for just waving her off, and she hugged her and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it is what it is. And again, I was shocked about it because nobody could really get through Mary like that. And Whitney's like, I thought we were friends. I love you very, very much. I love you so much, Mary. And Mary's just looking at her like, yeah, I really don't consider us friends. And Whitney, again, she just broke down even more. She's like, we're not friends. Okay, consider this consider this a truth. There's no gloves anymore, and I have big girl gloves. So just consider this a truth. Like, okay, it's war from here on out. So again, Whitney, I just hope you know with what she just said to you then that she's not your friend, that it's go time. And again, expose the church. Expose the church. So then we finally get to the moment we've all been waiting for this entire season as everybody's arriving at Heather's beauty lab to get this trip going because the huge van is waiting for them there with the driver. And I believe it was Whitney, Jenny, and Lisa and Heather and Jen that were all there. They were all, getting ready. They were all packing their stuff on the van and the trucks. Everything was going well. Jenny, Whitney, and Lisa and Jen were in the van, and Heather was back in beauty lab. She was, doing a couple last minute things. She was using the bathroom. Everything was going well. And then the creepy ass music that was playing in the background while all of this was going on, while everything was being said, while all the cameras were being placed, everything was being packed. It was such an eerie feeling. I mean, I had to check my wallet to make sure Jen didn't steal it from me too. I was so creeped out. I was just watching it so tense. I was just like, okay, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? It was just such a tense feeling. It was like watching a horror movie. I was just waiting for Freddy Krueger and Ghostface to pop up out of nowhere and try to kill somebody. But back to the scene. Everybody is in the van, and then Jen gets a phone call. And then as Jen is picking up the phone call, she's all happy, she's all good and everything, and she picks up and she's just like, "Hello, hi baby, hello."
You need to run. No, seriously, you need to run. Seriously, like you're a whole scammer. You need to run. Like run quickly. Get the nearest car and drive to Mexico, drive to Texas, or drive to California. But you need to take your scamming ass out of Salt Lake City quickly. The cops are coming after you.
She kind of breaks the fourth wall because she looks right into the camera as she's on the phone, and she's just so nervous. You could tell that her throat probably dropped to her stomach. I mean, I can only imagine what she was feeling or what she was thinking at that very moment with all these cameras around her. So then she looks over at Whitney. She's like, "Whitney, can you turn off my mic?" And then Whitney's like, "Okay, I got big girl hands now. Let me just do my big girl stuff." So she turns off her mic, and then Jen goes outside and she continues being on the phone. And as she's on the phone, the camera's just in her face. And Jen, she just looked like she's about to throw up. She just looks like the worst news been delivered on the phone. And I'm wondering who was on the phone. Was it Erica Jane that was warning her about what could be done about these crimes? Or like, who was on the phone? Was it her husband? I feel like it was probably her husband, especially the way she answered, "Oh, hi, baby." And then Heather comes out, and then Heather's like, "Oh, hey, Jen. Oh, what's wrong? Why do you look like that?" And then Jen is like, "Oh, no, nothing. Nothing. I'm something happened." And then Heather's like, "Wait, what happened? What happened? Why you look so worried?" And then Jen is just like, "Well, Sharif has been in a bad car accident, and he flipped his car 5 times, and I'm under a lot of stress right now." Yes, and then my son, he went and found him, and he also flipped his car 5 times too. And yes, I'm a little bit underneath a lot of stress right now, Heather. So I don't think I can go on this trip right now. I think I need to go because Sharif has internal bleeding." And Heather's like, "Wait, what do you mean? Are you going to tell them? I thought you were going to come on the cast trip." And then Jen is like, I don't know. I need to go check out what Sharif, like what's going on. And I need to go." So she gets back in the van and she tells the rest of the women, she's like, "Something happened with Sharif. I need to go. I need to leave." And then they're like, "Wait, so do you not want us to go on the trip?" And Jen is like, "I mean, no, you can go. I'm just gonna go. I have to go right now. I need to go right now. My getaway car is here. I mean, my car is here to take me to the hospital. No, I'm not leaving state. Why would you think I'm leaving state? No, I'm not going to Mexico. What do you mean? No, I'm just going to see Sharif. Why are you being so suspicious? No, I'm leaving." So then Jen decides to eventually leave. She gets in the truck. I'm not sure who was in the truck driving, and then they kind of just sped off. And then everybody's just kind of left in the van, just lost. They're like, "Wait, should we go? Should we not go? I mean, I don't understand." And then Jenny, she has very dark humor because she's like, "Well, if my husband was dying, I think he would want us to go on the trip regardless." I'm like, "Jenny, this is not the time." And then they're all still trying to figure out, what's going on with Jen. I mean, should we go on the trip? Should we not? Should we go? Should we not? And then as that creepy ass music, it gets even creepier because then in slow motion, you just see Whitney smiling from the corner of the van. And then behind her in the window, you see the police and the home, I was about to say home improvement. That too, the home invasion people and the NYPD, they show up in the background and they're walking in slow motion like they're the Suicide Squad, and they're just like showing up to the van, and it's like 20 of them, and they surround the van and they're like, "Oh, hey, is Jen around?" And everybody in the van is just like, wait, what's going on? I mean, is this a prank? Is Jenna trying to prank us? You know, they're all smiling and still giggling about it. And the police are like, where is Jen? We're looking for Jen Shaw. And Heather was so bold. I'm like, what kind of, no. She walks down, she's like, hey guys, hey, do y'all want to talk about the Mormon church or talk about my daughter's sex life? What are we doing here? Oh, I like your NYPD. I like your NYPD uniforms. What's going on here? Can I help you with anything? I'm like, Heather, no. No. You stay your ass in the van and just try not to pull focus on yourself. And then the NYPD is asking, where's Jen? Where's Jen? Where's Jen? And they're like, well, she just left like 12 minutes ago. And then we see the little timer that Jen had just left 12 minutes ago. So I can only imagine how everything would have played out if Jen would have still stayed in the van. I mean, would we have seen her like get handcuffed? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next episode or the episode after that. So maybe we'll see it, but they kept asking too. They're like, is Jen okay? Is Jen okay? Does Jen want milk and cookies? Is she okay? And I'm like, why are they asking if Jen is okay? Is that just like a trick tactic or something to try to get them to like, oh, see where she's at? And they're like, oh, well, she went to the hospital because her husband is internally bleeding. And they're like, okay, well, she's not here. She's not here. And then everybody's freaking out in the van. Whitney's like, oh my God, what should I do? Should I call somebody? And then Lisa's just like, I'm about to throw up, Jenny. I'm about to throw up right now. I'm like really nervous, Jenny. Like, I'm feeling so uneasy. And I felt uneasy too. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is about to happen? Again, I just kept looking for my wallet every 5 seconds just to make sure that Jen didn't run off with it. I was nervous the entire scene as if they were looking for me. Like, that's how tense everything was. And I love the camera work on this entire scene. I love the music. Shout out to Bravo and Andy and everybody who worked on this scene specifically because they got every single shot that we needed except the arrest. But, you know, Jen left, so they couldn't hold her down. And I love that the producer, she was pissy. She came in with an attitude with the van. She's like, so are y'all gonna fucking go on this trip or not? Because I need to know. I need to text Andy because you're wasting gas money. So I need to know because I need to go fucking home too. I don't even like the Salt Lake City Housewives like that. I want to go home to watch the Beverly Hills Part 3 and Part 4 of the reunion. So what are we doing here? Are you gonna go on the trip or not? And I'm like, damn, relax. You're gonna get paid regardless, producer. But again, the creepy ass music was the final cherry on top that added the creepiness to this scene because, whew, I'm telling you, it was so much tension. I think that this was probably one of the best Housewives moment in the whole Housewives history franchise, I believe. I don't know. What would y'all say? Would y'all put this up there in top 5? I would say that it was pretty good because I was just glued to the screen the entire time. I was like, what is about to happen? What is about to happen? And it's crazy. This is season 2 and this is what they're bringing. And, you know, honestly, this is what we should have seen at the very beginning already. We should have seen much more group events and much more events like this. You know, like this is what gets the show moving on a little bit more instead of having one-on-one pointless conversations in the snow. You know, this is what we need to see more episodes of because this was actually a pretty good episode if I, you know, must say so myself. But with that being said, the NYPD and the home improvement, home invasion people, they get inside a van, I believe, and then they eventually drive off. So I'm not sure if they're going to look for Jen or, you know, locate her or something, but that was that. And then everybody was left shook in the van. And then Whitney's like, wait, should I call Jen right now? And then Lisa's like, no, I think it was Heather. Heather was like, should I call Jen right now? And then Lisa being the executive producer, she's like, I don't think you should do that. No, I really don't think you should do that. And I'm like, Lisa, let me find out you've been, you know, involved in some crimes and you're, you know, you have some type of knowledge of this because, I mean, obviously, why would you call Jen if the police are looking for you? Because then they're going to trace everything back to you, Heather. Like, wait, were you trying to call Jen to give her a lead up of them looking for her? Were you trying to assist her in her crimes? What's going on here? But that was that, y'all. It was left at a to be continued, and we shall see how this turns out next week. But again, this whole entire last 10, 15 minutes of the episode had me shook. And that was that, y'all. What did y'all think about this episode? What did y'all think about the last 10, 15 minutes? Was it worth the wait? I mean, what's going to happen next week? I mean, whoo. It's going to be a wild roller coaster. So we shall see how this plays out. And again, I just hope that they have much more group events. That's what I would love to see. I love to see all the women interacting with each other. It's fun to see. And then you get a little bit more of a storyline instead of, again, just pointless conversations, just one-on-one. I like to see more group events. But with that being said, y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Bye, y'all. Mwah.